Welcome back. This is Dr. Hadley. This is my series on Microsoft 365 Excel. We are on Unit 1 with formatting. This is the last lesson of the formatting unit. We're going to be talking about conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is a really powerful tool that lets you highlight cells based on different conditions. So, if this is a certain level, if there's a duplicate, if it starts with a certain letter, so on and so forth. So let's kind of go through some of those examples. So if we first, so you can see all these different options. Let's just, we're just going to kind of randomly go around these. But let's go to the highlight cells rules first. Okay. So what you can see here is we have greater than, less than, between, equal to, a text that contains, a date occurring, duplicate values. Okay. So let's choose this duplicate values because that's a common issue. You're adding entries maybe for each customer or for each item sold or whatever. And like, oh, we already have this customer in the system, or we already have this item with this SKU in the system. We don't need a second one. So let's choose the SKUs. Okay. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and duplicate values. Okay. Now we get a window over here no matter what, because there's only so much we can control from the ribbon. And from here, so it says duplicate values. I can also change cell value specific text, so we'll get there. Some of these, blanks, no blanks, errors, no errors. But we're going to focus on duplicate values. And then we're going to highlight the ones that are. So there are some predefined format styles, but let's just kind of make our own. So let's add one. And you're really changing the formatting as a whole to the specific cells that are duplicated. So I can make it bold, and I like this red, but instead of this pink, let's give it a yellow so it really stands out. Yeah, that's pretty obnoxious, so to speak. And that should be good. So there are no duplicates, so you don't see anything. So let's make a duplicate. Let's click on this cell over here, and let's copy that top one, 532, 532. And you see, as soon as we change it, it updates the formatting. It catches, oh, hey, there's a duplicate here. Let's highlight those two to let the user know. Okay. Very useful. From here, let's add conditional formatting to these words. Okay, so we highlight these. We can go back to conditional formatting, but in this case, this window is still open, and so I can manage rules and selection and add a new rule straight from here. Okay, so I can add blanks or no blanks or specific text, unique values, duplicate values. I'm going to add specific text, and I'm going containing, and I'm going to just put a space so that any of those words that has a space in them, it is going to highlight. So let's make this green, and then we're going to put done. Okay. So it highlighted all the ones that have space, which is everything but Wingspan and Rococo. Okay. For the next one, let's look at these numbers, these units sold. We can go to new rule, but I know exactly where to go to in the ribbon in this case. So highlight cell rules, let's do greater than. So maybe I want to highlight, okay, which items are being, are at least selling 500 units. So if I click on greater than, again, it has the cells up here, and then I can put in 500, okay, and let's just use this red text, or how about the red border? That looks good. And then we're going to do done. Okay. And it highlights the boxes that are greater than 500. You see this one 492. It's not quite there, but if I make it 501, it's going to highlight. And if I do it 500, it's going to unhighlight because it's not greater than, it's equal to 500. So it is a truly greater than criteria. So if you want to keep that into account, you can set this to like 499.5 or something. Let's look at some other ones. How about this profit growth. This seems like a good one. Conditional formatting. Now, again, there's like greater than, less than, equal to, things of that sort. But there's also these top-bottom rules. So maybe I want, okay, highlight all the items, the top 2 items. Okay. So I want the top 2 items. I want to see what is making, what had the biggest growth. So not what sold the most, what had the biggest growth over the 2 years. Okay, let's add another thing. Let's make this a nice yellow with a black background. That should stand out. Okay, done. All right, bingo. So it looks like Mansions of Madness and Rococo, they had the biggest growth over that year span. Another one that we can look at. So, I mean, there's also below average, bottom 10%, top 10%, 10 items. That would be 1 item, so that's not really much of a useful thing. But let's look at this data bars. Okay. So let's do, how about net income here? Okay. And then we go to data bars. And really, so we can do a gradient fill or a solid fill. That's more aesthetics than anything. But let's just do this green gradient fill. Okay. What you can see is that it shows, okay, hey, this one is really small. These ones are kind of lower, and this one's definitely the highest. But it gives you a visual take of where does everything stand in terms of those. So you get like this snapshot picture comparing them all. You don't have to sort them or anything like that. You can just quickly glance, and it's easy to see, okay, Rococo is definitely the top performer in this case, but Flip 7 is not doing so well, or whatever. Okay. Let's choose this one. Actually, let's do this gross income over here, because that way we'll get a little bit of a different result. So color scales. So this is going to give it a color scale based on high, low, and medium. So if I choose this one, it's going to make the greens really high and the reds really low. And I can see which, maybe even in clusters of where are we doing well, where are we doing okay, where are we doing really poorly. For example, up here, okay, Flip 7 not doing well over here either. Whereas Rococo is still doing really amazing over here. It's probably because it's worth so much more. But okay, let's take this one and look at the next situation. Here, so we have these color scales, and then we have the icon sets. So this is kind of, I could literally give it red, green, and yellow flags to mark, issues. Okay, so this one is doing well. These 2 are doing well. Oh, these 3 or 5, they're all struggling. And Rococo, oh, sorry, that's Planet Unknown and Mansions of Madness. They're doing okay, but they could be better or whatever. So you can see that there's a lot of different options and such that you can do with this. So if I highlight the whole sheet, so if I click in this corner, right here. There we go. Oh, the little arrow. Not the corner. Okay, so that highlights the whole sheet. But you can see right here all of the different rules. And if I even just do this sheet and I click anywhere, it's going to keep those. So I can be like, okay, I'm going to mess with this one, either change the formatting, change the rules, whatever it might be, maybe increase width cells can do this. And then another thing I can do is I can clear all the rules, either from the selected cells or from the entire sheet. So let's do that. Well, that's all I have on conditional formatting. Actually, as the end of the unit, that is all I have to say about formatting as a whole. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. And I hope to see you in the next video, and good day.